This is Myron Rabinowitz for the George Herald, and I'm here with Brian Schreuder. You are the head of department for the Department of Education in the Western Cape. Can you please just tell us about what's the situation with the schools in the Southern Cape at the moment?
Yes, thank you. First of all, there's a huge demand for places in the Southern Cape, growing demand, growing numbers in the schools. And so there are challenges in getting learners placed. The other challenge is that the learners often come in and then leave after a while again as they move to Cape Town or to other places. So that's a challenge for education outcomes and for teaching. However, we've got excellent schools and excellent leadership in our schools, and they're really growing well. Every year, you know that there are top performances from schools from a variety of communities throughout the Southern Cape area, and they must really be commended for it. Teachers are doing great work. Here and there where there are challenges in schools, we're working with the leadership to improve that. We're working with communities to improve the education in those schools. And in the next 5 years, we will invest a lot in leadership and teacher development and learners' growth mindset so that we help inspire them to understand that there is a future and that their effort can make a difference to their future.
Ryan, I'd just like to touch on the technical schools that are in the area. Not everyone can or will finish a fantastic academic result. What do you say about technical schools and the future?
Well, we're busy reflecting on the next 5 years to identify our strategic priorities. And there is no doubt in my mind that technical education, which in some ways has regressed in the last number of years, needs to be re-energized. And so technical schools and schools of skills, so the technical and vocational schools, will be a priority for us going forward in the next 5 years. And certainly in the Southern Cape, we've got wonderful facilities that we need to re-energize and reinvest in. We have to, in South Africa, make sure that we have a better balance between academic, technical and vocational education in the basic sector. And we're determined to grow that over the next number of years.
You've just built, or you're in the process of finishing the building of a new high school in Thembalethu, which was really needed because those schools were very overcrowded. Please, can I have your views on what you expect from a third high school in Thembalethu?
Well, I don't expect anything different from a third high school than I expect from all high schools. I really expect top quality education. We've got a vision for education in the Western Cape. And that vision is quality education for every child in every classroom in every school in the province. New school, old school, traditional, historic, poor, rich, all of us have to give kids an effective and a quality education. Every child deserves it. So in opening new schools, as we have in various places, and the Thembalethu one that you're referring to now, is, in my view, a center of hope for the community, for a growing community. And we would request and appeal to the community to embrace it, to protect it, and to ensure that learners learn in it. We've got a mantra for our kids. We call it enter to learn and leave to serve. And the reason for that is, it's all about education. We want our learners to understand that they go to school with the purpose of learning something in every classroom and every day. And if that can happen in our schools will again become cherished by our communities and will serve our society better.
In the Southern Cape, we have an influx of learners which come to the schools in the Western Cape because of the perception from other provinces that education is better. Has this affected schooling? And I'm talking about not only teaching, but the budget of the department in any way? And I see you smiling.
Indeed I am. Well, first of all, it's not just the Southern Cape that has a growth in learner numbers. We've grown 25,000 by 25,000 this year, and on average between 18 and 20,000 per year for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. Now, the funding is not arriving as learners arrive. The consequence is that our budget is under tremendous constraint. The economy of the country is not growing adequately, and so the reality is that our teachers have a tougher time because class sizes get bigger, and it's exacerbated by a society where values are not entrenched, and as a consequence, disorder, strife in communities, violence, and all those factors definitely have an impact on education. The fact that the Western Cape is offering a good education, and I'm not going to argue with anyone that wants to say it maybe is the best or better, But we don't want to compare ourselves against the rest or anyone else. We want to compare ourselves against our own standards, which is we want to deliver quality education for every child. And so the fact that we are still delivering a very good education across the board, as it were, is absolutely due to our teachers. We've got a fantastic core of teachers that are streaming to professional development sessions every weekend and conferences that are really wanting to prepare themselves so that they continue to learn to serve our learners better.
Could I ask you just to give a message to the matrics as they prepare? They're in their final part of their schooling career.
Well, first of all, they must just know that they are at the end of their schooling career, but it's not suddenly just something that's coming now. They've had 12 years of preparation for their matric year. And they've written an exam every year, and they've written an exam every term. So what is necessary now for matrics is just to put the last bit of effort in so that the cherry on the top can be attained. I want to wish them everything of the best. I want to encourage them to use every moment of opportunity to put the finishing touches on their learning, to make sure that they go through past papers and understand what the questions are, that they practice their reading and comprehension to understand the questions, and I know our matrics will again do well in this province.
And finally, for next year, the grade ones, when they start the registration process, can you just give some hints to the parents, please?
Well, firstly, it's not only grade ones, but for next year's registration, parents should already have registered by March this year. We encourage all our parents to register kids wherever they come in by March of a year so that we are able to deal with the difficult issue of placing learners, because most of our schools have more applications than they can take. It's a very difficult thing, and we understand that greatly. So we encourage all parents to apply for at least 3 schools, so that if they don't get their first choice, which we always try to give them, then we are able to give them a second or a third opportunity if at all possible. I think the important thing is that parents must know that there's a 12-year period that's starting out in grade 1. It's a fantastic experience. The kids love it. They're wide-eyed. They're curious. They have a thirst for knowledge. Education wants to give that to them. And we will change the way in the future how we look at a future-focused education going forward.
Thank you. Good luck. Good luck for this year, matrics, and for next year, and for the future of education in the Western Cape. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you very much.